Hey y'all, welcome back to Soul Spot Hypno, where hypnotherapy meets practical spirituality. I'm Pia, the Soul Mentor, and in this video, I want to talk about the conversation that we were never allowed to have. Well, that conversation has begun, y'all, and I am excited. I am excited to start it, to be a part of it. And I'm excited for all of the daughters that have joined in the conversation and are doing the work to heal this thing called the mother wound. Now, y'all know I have been out here talking about my book, talking about, what it involves. And I know that someone said, who was that? Someone said in the comments that they had a good relationship with their mother. And I'm like, I am very glad that you did have a great relationship. You ought to give a lot of thanks to the Most High for that, because that's not every daughter's story. That's not every daughter's story. I wish it was every daughter's story, that every daughter had that nurturing mother that stood in the gap for her, that mother that was that person, that ideal person for her, that treated her with love and kindness and respect and looked at her as if she were a daughter and not just a thing that she could control and manipulate, taunt, and, God knows what else. But sadly, that is the story for a lot of women out here who have had relationships and still have relationships like that with their mother. Okay? That's just the reality of it. And it is true. And it has been that way for millennia, it seems like. And probably if I go back all the way back and try to track this thing, I bet you if I did that, I could probably find lots of stories just like that. I know that I hear them when I do past life regression, with different clients. It is everywhere. And it's not that it is something that is birthed out of the environment. All of these things that we hear, like the abuse, the mother that won't celebrate her daughter, the mother that may be jealous or envious of her daughter. All of these things, those are just symptoms, okay? Those are the symptoms of a wound that is so ancient, y'all. And it's ancient because I'm just going to put you up on game. The mother wound is spiritual, and it started way before you were born. It don't even have nothing to do with you. You just happen to be on the receiving end of it. It started before your mother was even born. It started before your mother was even born. I'm going to leave that blooper right on in there. I sure am. Because I'm sitting here out looking out my window and, watching the kids and trying to make sure that everything is everything on this block, because I pray for the people on this block, and I pray for our safety, and I pray for our protection. And it has been peaceful for, many moons. So, forgive me if I got a little bit distracted there. But this thing that we call the mother wound, it started a long time ago. And I can assure you that the reason that you see it so prevalent in relationships between women, between mothers and daughters, between sisters, and you see this tension that goes on in these relationships, and you see the heartache and the pain and the psychosis that it causes. And no amount of talk therapy, counseling is going to cut it. that would be very, very effective if the root of the problem were addressed. Okay. And then you go to do the maintenance. And that is one thing that I am so glad about, because through hypnotherapy and the work that I do, I was able to finally, y'all, pinpoint that thing and find out, actually where the source of it came from. And it really just blew my mind. I'm like, yeah, OMG. And I do mean that literally. You have got to be kidding me. And so that is the thing, because that pattern has been repeated over and over and over and over and over until the pattern then starts to act like it's alive, like it's a living thing. And if it is not recognized and addressed and healed, it too is going to repeat itself throughout the bloodline. That's why you see so much of it in families. You might see a history of alcoholism in your family, and you're like, why is this thing happening to the women in my family? Why is there so much discord? Y'all see it. You see it. But there's always going to be that one in the bloodline, the one that the ancestors have been waiting for. Y'all heard that term trending in the spiritual community. I am the one my ancestors have been waiting for. Why do you think that is? You think that's just so that they can just shower you with gifts and all of that? Oh, that's coming if you do the work. You hear that term, chosen one? What you think you was chosen to do? You were chosen to be the ambassador for your bloodline. Okay? This is work. It's not something that you have to do for the rest of your life, but if you came back in this realm to stand in the gap as the ambassador, the disruptor for your bloodline, and break the chains and set the captive free, those daughters, those women in the bloodline that have been tainted with this foolishness. Yeah. Because that's what it is. That is exactly what it is. And when you see this kind of pattern repeating over and over in these families, it's because that chosen one for that bloodline has not done the work yet. And that's not to say that she has to, make sure that everybody in the family is awake and all of that kind of stuff like that. No, it don't mean that. It means that she came back here for a specific reason, a specific one. And that is major, major work, because it involves the divine feminine. And I can assure you that this wound is a direct attack on the divine feminine. A direct attack. They have tried everything in their power to try to silence the mother. You can't do that. And be not deceived. The mother is not mocked, okay? The mother is not mocked. And she is rising. And this right here, healing this wound right here, it's like right on top of the food chain. It's right up there with oxygen, okay? Because who do you think is going to restore the balance in the earth? Who do you think is going to bring peace back? Who do you think is going to bring the union of the divine masculine and feminine back in order like it once was? It's going to be the divine feminine. And before that can happen, she has to remember who she is. She has to remember who she is. Can you just imagine if all of the bloodline ambassadors across the world came together and did their work in their families, and we all stood on the same page and used our powers? Can you just imagine the effect that would have? Because if one could put 1,000 to flight and two could put 10,000, you do the math. You do the math. So this conversation has started. This conversation has started. This book, this is not just a story, y'all. This is a spiritual tool, one that you definitely need to have in your spiritual arsenal. Okay? It's a tool. The workbook is coming because there is work to do. This is just to bring the awareness. This is to sound the alarm. Okay? I'm excited. I've been waiting. I came back just for this. Just for this moment right here. And I hope you did too. Because after this, oh baby, it's about to be, oh, you talk about heaven on earth. Yes. I love y'all, and I will see you in the video. And I will see you in the next video. And if you haven't picked up a copy of The Mother Wound yet, the link is in my bio. Okay? I'll see y'all next time.